Hello, it's Kim from Geeks for Social Change, and I'm here with a little tour of kind of where we're up to on PlaceCal after the last few updates. So our homepage is probably the thing that most needs an overhaul, but it just kind of explains what the project is and how to go about it. And if people haven't heard our story by now, then we've got a lot of info here about the problem it addresses, which is mostly about getting people working together, that a lot of software isn't good for community needs, and that we've got a digital exclusion problem. So you can read more about that if you want. I think for today, the piece I really want to show is just how we're starting to build these two concepts of communities of place and communities of interest and how these work within the PlaceCal platform. So here's kind of an example of like the Manchester one. So if you look on this partners page here, you can see we've got a sort of massive list of all the people in Manchester that are part of the project at the moment. This goes back quite a long way now. And you can filter this by category, and you can filter it down by whatever neighborhood you're in. And then I think the most exciting thing for PlaceCal is that we're aggregating all the events. So you can see all the amazing things there are to do, even just today in Human Moss side mostly, which is where our listings are focusing, but also you can see Moston, etc. And again, we've got a few little filters here now, so you can just pick a date you want to go to or look in certain neighborhoods, although this needs a little bit of work. And you can show one-off events, repeating events, whatever you like. Where this really is fed into, though, is from these specific sites. So we've mostly redone the interface to work around communities of interest now. So here's an example of like Manchester libraries. So Manchester libraries have listed, this is a little pilot we're doing with them just on the ones for, is this Central, South, one of the two. And these events are literally just powered by 5 Outlook calendars that they have on their existing system. So as a result, like, this is now a really useful listing for them. And similarly, there's other listings going on for the Transdimension and some other projects we've done locally. So what you're really seeing on the PlaceCal Manchester is kind of the everything. But we found that doing it this way, having the interest groups lead, is the way that we then make sure everything gets complete. A lot of people have probably already seen this, but then the next evolution of this, if people want to put the effort in, is to make these completely custom front ends. So this is a separate code base. It's completely its own site, and it pulls in all this data from the PlaceCal API. So because the idea of this is more to build a partnership of trans groups across the nationwide. So we've got a slightly different interface here, where rather than having them separated, we can kind of see everything. We're assuming there's a lot of national services. Currently we are only in Manchester and London, but we're looking to go elsewhere. And even, you can see there's like so many events just in London and Manchester. This is just today. So this is like, I think, this is the experience of someone wanting to find things. So when we talk about PlaceCal, we have 3 main audiences. And the first one is just this group of people who want to find things. And when people want to find things, they don't, especially if you're like new to something, you're not going to know the name of every single group in the community. What you want to do is just find this interface to it. So this site is curated by Gender Intelligence and ourselves in a way that it links off their site, and then you can filter out to a group near you that has your exact needs, be it, gardening or music or club nights or whatever it is. You can find something really suitable without having to know and all the names of all of these and follow everyone on Instagram. So behind the scenes, this is kind of how it looks. So this is the new interface I've been working on. So this is really the job of the curator. So we've identified these people. So they might work at charities. They might be voluntary community social enterprises. They might even be things like conglomerations of faith organizations, or it could be city councils or housing associations. But a lot of people have this desire to make a directory or a listing of everything happening in their area. So this kind of shows the behind the scenes, and you can see like the interface I've redone. It shows you basically like calendars that are having problems, and it gives you a big overview of everything that's going on. I don't know how much to show of this, but you can kind of get an idea what's in our back end. So all this information is on the front end too. I'm not giving confidential information away here, But like if we go into one of these little groups, we can kind of see there's like a little wizard, and you can give it an address or a service area if it's not based in one place, and give it various tags and like the usual things you'd kind of expect. But then obviously our key innovation is you can add calendars. So this doesn't have one. But if you paste a calendar feed in here, and we have a whole bunch of supported ones now, it will then continually import things into the site, which then means we can start doing things, viewing this information on all kinds of scales. So the sites here, basically each of these, so queer leads is one we'll maybe talk about, but this is showing all the everything in leads that is tagged queer leads. So again, this is how our overlap starts, and I think in this way it means that administrators can actually work together on making sure everyone is supported to enter data in a way that best suits them. So, and this is really the final piece of the puzzle, you know, like every community group out there doesn't want to have to like keep another thing updated. So by doing it this way, we've just made sure that once the curator has added them to the system and they have a calendar linked, in this case it's coming from Google, there's like nothing more they need to do. I mean, they might want to log in occasionally, change the social media details, but really we've sort of designed this as like a hands-off system. And like I say, the final piece of this is really just because now we have this API that has all this amazing event data in it. I've been looking at things like building static sites that just load off the calendars. So this is one I've been working on just as an example, but basically this entire website is currently populating just from the PlaceCal endpoint. And I think especially for groups who don't have any energy to maintain a website, which is everyone, I think we can use this as a really stable backend. So I hope this gives you a little idea of what PlaceCal is about and what it's capable of. Obviously there's the immediate thing of like, it's an app, it does something, it collates everything together. But really the bigger vision here is one where like the people who are already doing the work to curate these communities of interest are supported and given tools to do that, and then are equally supported to help their community list events in the best way that makes sense for them. So right now that's probably things like Outlook, Eventbrite. But I think going forwards, this also opens the door for us then, once we have people on board, start having the conversations about, do we start hosting our own open source services? Do we want our own cooperative ticketing platform? Is there someone out there that could do this? And in doing so, kind of reduce this reliance on big corporations to support our community needs. So I hope that makes sense. All the code for everything I've just showed you is open source on our GitHub repository. And yeah, let us know if this seems exciting to you, if you want to be part, if you would want this for your area, then please get in touch, and thanks for watching.